Got it. Thank you. Has everyone had a chance to look at the agenda? Are there any amendments or corrections to the agenda?
I do have an addition.
Yes.
I would like to discuss the status of the SEB Claire Harden investigation tonight. Thank you.
Yep. Are there any other additions? Are there any other additions?
No.
Okay. The agenda is adopted as amended. Has everyone had a chance to look at the August 21st regular board meeting minutes? Are there any
Yes.
corrections or amendments?
None.
No.
There being no corrections or changes, these minutes are approved as written. First round of public comments for agenda items only. No public comments? All right, moving on to financial report, August 2024.
Did you have a chance to review the financials? Does anyone have any questions? This just goes until August 31st. No.
No questions.
No questions.
Right, it's still very early, so we're doing good.
Awesome. All right, election supervisor update. Please silence your phone. Thank you.
All right, board, good afternoon. Thanks for all of you for being here. It's good to see all your faces. Just a few updates. Most importantly, I think, logic and accuracy testing began today. And let me just take a moment to pause real quick. I don't mean to embarrass her, but this is our new county attorney. And since you might be wondering who just walked all the way up to the front of the room, it's no. I wanted to make sure that she had been invited and was getting briefed on what we were getting briefed from the Secretary of State's office. So I have kept it's Fortier, right? Yes, ma'am. Okay, Miss Fortier in the loop, and I just wanted to introduce you to her. She took John Myers' place when he retired this summer, and we're glad to have her on board. And she's in for a real treat this election season.
Well, welcome. Yep.
We'll have questions. I have questions. We'll talk.
Okay, so logic and accuracy testing began today at 9 o'clock. The ad was in the paper last week. Notices are on the doors. Dennis didn't have any visitors at 9 o'clock when he opened up this morning, but things are going very well with logic and accuracy testing. Poll worker training begins next week. I will send all of you an email with the poll worker training dates so that you can attend one if you'd like. Sessions are from 9 to 2 and 3 to 8, and they're at different locations. One's in Kingsland, one's on a Saturday, one's at night, one's up here. So I'll send you the list. We have pretty full classes, and we'll be training about 110, 115 poll workers. So these are veterans, newbies, and kind of in between people. Good.
Shannon, do we have anybody from the high school working this time?
Not
or
yet.
training?
Not yet, but I did talk to Ms. Bice yesterday and encouraged her to send anyone our way.
Okay.
So we'll fit them into a class if we find some
Okay, thank you.
students. Yeah. Just a reminder, advanced voting begins October 15th, which is was 4 weeks, I believe, from yesterday. So it's coming up on us fast, which is why we're doing logic and accuracy testing. We do have our project, of course. We have our ballots. And Rock is going to talk to you a little bit more about when absentee ballots and UOCAVA ballots go out. Yesterday, Rock and I attended the National Voter Registration Day at Camden County High School. We also were joined by 2 board members, Claire Harden and Julia McCullough, so we appreciate your help. We got about 40 students signed up and registered. Most are going to be of age by November 5th. Some have a little bit later birthdays. While we were there, one of our poll managers, Vernon Higgins, who manages the Waverly poll, he and 2 of his fellow NAACP members attended or organized the same type of event at Coastal Tech, and they had over, I think they said they had 24 students that they were able to register at the Tech College, which is great. So we appreciate him taking the lead on that and going out there and registering students, so that's wonderful. Staff and I are still working on list maintenance inside Jarvis. That is an ongoing item that we'll continue to do until we can no longer change anything in the Jarvis system, which is right around October 7th, give or take. Currently, we have 36,878 active voters. Remember, even if they have inactive behind their name or in their account, they are still eligible to vote in early voting or election day. And I believe that's all I have. I'm going to turn it over to Rock for some more information. Thank you.
Could you kind of expound on the list maintenance? You're not removing people unless they've requested to be removed. You're just adding people and,
Yeah, this is just regular daily upkeep. This is vital statistics where we do cancel people for death-related circumstances that are listed. This is adding new voters that are going online to register to vote. This is updates we get from the driver's license office when anyone changes addresses, then, or gets a new license in Camden. We get those notifications the next day, so we're updating those individuals. And everybody's in a rush kind of to get their name and address all fixed before the October 7th deadline. So we're not doing list maintenance as far as removing people at this point unless it's a death or a felon or something like that. So, all right, Rock.
Good afternoon.
afternoon.
As of 3:30 this afternoon, we have 85 Uakalva ballots in-house. Of that 85, 79 of them will be electronically delivered, and we only have to mail 6. Woo-hoo. The big number would be our ABMs, absentee ballots by mail. We have a total of 767 of them as of this afternoon. And we've already started getting them separated by the district combos so that we can prepare to mail them out on October the 7th. However, the Uakalva ballots, they would be mailed, the electronic ones would be mailed by this Thursday, and the paper ones would be mailed by Saturday. All Uakalva that we have in-house would be mailed out no later than Saturday.
Okay,
All right. That concludes my report.
thank you.
Any questions from the board on the elected supervisor report?
No.
All right. Moving on to unfinished business, discussion regarding supplemental process, guidance for voter challenges. And I'll stand by my statement during the last meeting. The goal of the proposed supplement is to provide needed guidance to voter challenges, not only for Camden County voter that decides to submit a voter challenge, but also for the challenged voter so they can both understand the process. I will add this supplement will also maybe bring pause to those that may want to do a challenge when they realize they do not possess all of the information that would be required to prevail on a challenge. I think a lot of times people think, well, I'm going to challenge this voter, but I don't have any information that supports that. And I think this will help in that process. All right, if passed, the supplement will be available on the election website. Any other further discussion? The chair will entertain a motion to accept or reject this supplement.
I'll make the motion to accept it.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second it.
I have a motion to accept and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Motion carries 4-1. Did you abstain?
I did not.
Did
Well,
not.
yeah, I do stay. Yeah, I prefer not to vote one way or the other.
Okay. All right, so 4-1. All right, moving on to new business, discussion regarding Rule 183-1-12-0, or .02, certify the results, and Rule 183-1-12.12, tabulating results. And this kind of goes in with the pre-certification decision support items. So if you'll turn in your books to that portion where we talk about the support items. Trying to find it.
Do we know about where? Yeah, it's after
It's-
the
it's after the SEB rules and right before the training. So it looks like this.
Okay.
There you go. This one. If you could bring it up on the screen for the draft. That's the supplement.
After this.
There we go. All right, so the state election board came out with a couple of rules that talked about how we're going to certify, or not how we're going to certify, but they talked about certification. And one of them is we have to have a 3 PM meeting on the Friday following the date of which the election is held. And we will conduct precinct returns, and we'll review precinct returns to make sure they're accurate. So I reached out to a couple of counties, and this one was from Fulton County, and I reworded it and reworked it with Shannon's help. And this is what we came up with things that we're going to need to see for the pre-certification meeting. And this will also tie into the certification meeting we do on the following Tuesday at 10 a.m. because Monday's a holiday. Has everyone had a chance to review the document?
Yes.
Okay, any questions on the document, anything we need to add? So everything's pretty straightforward. The only thing I had a question on was a tabulator status report, and that comes out of the EMS system, and that's one of the standard reports that we can print out. And it will tell us if all the memory cards were uploaded properly. So that'll
Okay.
give us a status report. Okay?
And this is for the 3 PM on Friday.
The 3 PM Friday, and it will also carry over into the certification
Right.
meeting on Monday, or Tuesday. Monday usually, but Tuesday. It's not on here to be voted on, but I think it's probably appropriate that we do vote on this. So I will accept the motion to accept or reject this document.
I move to accept it.
All right, I have a
Second.
Second, I have a motion to accept and motion and seconded. Is any further discussion?
None.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, the third item up was the amended for the status of the Clara Hardin,
Right.
pardon?
Yep.
Yep.
So on August 21st, we received an email regarding a SCB investigation in a Clara Hardin investigation. And I guess you probably need to talk about it for a second. And then I'd like to specifically just ask, is it currently on the SCB's agenda for Friday, and do we know that?
Okay, it is-
That's the first question. And then the second, you mentioned in your email that it was likely that it'd be adjudicated during the September SCB, and I just wanted you to touch base with that, please. Okay, thank you.
So it is not on the agenda for the September meeting. It could be a year from now. It could be 6 months from now.
Okay,
It takes that long for them to adjudicate it.
okay.
So I'll take you back to the beginning. Ms. Claire Hardin had put a petition, or put a nomination request in to be on the district commissioners, to be on the ballot as an independent candidate.
This is in 20,
This was in 2022.
Okay.
The petitions came back. They didn't meet the requirements for her to get on the ballot as an independent candidate. So that was rejected, and she received a denial letter on that because she didn't have enough voters sign her petition to get her on the ballot as an independent.
okay,
So then she decided she would run as a write-in candidate, which was fine. The only problem was the district attorney, when we went to him for legal advice, he said that she was considered a candidate on the ballot already, and she could not actually run as a write-in candidate. Okay?
it seems to be conflicting, but, okay,
Because she was a nomination as a candidate,
right?
although her name did not appear on the primary ballot, she was a candidate on the ballot, according to the county attorney and his legal advice.
So she couldn't be both?
She could not do both.
Okay,
And that was the ruling that the Board of Election Registration came up with. We voted on it unanimously, that she would be denied to be a write-in candidate. And
okay,
then where it went from there, I don't know. She had an opportunity to go to the Superior Court to have our decision reversed, and we never heard anything else until the investigator got a hold of Shannon.
Shannon, can you give us an update on that part? that you know of?
Sure, so I can't remember. It was over the summer, I believe, maybe 6 weeks ago, 2 months ago. I'm not really sure.
Not long ago.
Yeah. I had an SEB investigator reach out to me on a complaint, and he was requesting any information we had in the file regarding Ms. Harden. So I provided that information to the investigator and asked at the time if I could see what the complaint was, because I was unaware that there had been one that had been filed. And he said, they can't share the complaints until after it's reached and been before the SEB. So he expected that he passed on all the information that I gave him to the SEB, and now they're just waiting to get it on the agenda. I'm sure there's a backlog. I mean, it's 2024. That happened over 2 years ago. And so I'm sure it's backlog. I would expect to see it before the end of this year. But I don't know that for sure. So they'll notice us.
Right, so the investigator, he got everything that we had as far as the images of the petitions and all documentation that was provided us, along with the county attorney's opinion and the letter that was provided to Ms. Harden, two letters that were provided to Ms. Harden.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments, concerns? All right. All right, now we're going to get in the meat of this meeting, the training. Woo-hoo. All right, today's training is absentee voting, and we're going to go over OCGA 21-2-380 to 390, and SEB Rules 183-1- or .13 and .14. Next. All right, just talked about what an absentee voter is, or an absentee elector is. It's anyone that does not vote on election day is an absentee voter. Next. Next, please. All right, this talks about the time frame of when applications can be made, and it can be made from 78 days before an election to 11 days prior to an election or runoff. And it can also be made by someone that you're related to. As long as they're over 18, they can make an application for you. All right, next. All right, we can shift to the hard copy we have in the book if you want, or we can wait just a second. No, not everyone has a copy. I can hand it out to them. All right, I think this is the slide we're supposed to be on. So in order to confirm the identity of the voter, such a form shall require the elector to provide his or her name, date of birth, address as registered, address where the elector wishes the ballot to be mailed, and the number of his or her Georgia driver's license and or identification card. The election board and the Secretary of State will never automatically send you an application. You have to request an application. So if you receive one in the mail, it is not from the Secretary of State's office, or it's not from the Board of Election Registration unless you've requested one. Relatives applying for absentee ballot from electors must also sign an oath stating that facts they are related to you. Okay? Next. All right, so this talks about if you're 65 or older, you can request an absentee ballot one time at the beginning of the election cycle. As long as you check that you're elderly or you're disabled, you're going to receive a ballot, an absentee ballot for every election. If you're not 65 and you're not disabled, you're required to submit an application for every election, and runoff and primary. Okay. We just went over that one. All right, this talks about the time frame when we're going to be sending out the absentee ballots. It's between, at the 29th day before the election, we'll start sending out the ballots. And then it's 22 days if it's a municipal ballot. And we will send them out till 11 days prior to the election. That's the cutoff. And that's the cutoff for the application also is 11 days. All right, and as soon as possible for a runoff. Okay, notwithstanding any other provision of this chapter, an elector confined to a hospital may make application for an absentee ballot on the day of the primary or election or during the 10-day period immediately preceding the day of such primary election. So if you're in the hospital, please let us know so we can get you a ballot. It's very important. If you haven't filled one out already, you can't fill out two, just that one. All right, next. And this talks about the 29 days. Going backwards? Feels like we're going backwards. There we go. Anytime after receiving an official absentee ballot, but before the day of primary election, except electors who are confined to a hospital, we must have your ballot in hand before the polls close at 7 p.m. on Tuesday. And this talks about who can deliver your ballot back to the election office or place it into the ballot box. There's 22 people that can actually do that. And the SEB rule at the bottom and all of this does not apply to us because we do not do a satellite office for hand delivering absentee ballots to a person. Placing them in the drop box is different than handing them to a physical person. So we don't fall under this rule. So continue on. This talks about rejected absentee ballots. So if you fail to sign the oath or your identifying information is not correct, you're going to get rejected. You're going to receive a letter. And then SEB talks about rejection no later than the close of business on the third business day, and rejected within 11 days of election, no later than the close of business on the next business day. So prior to 11 days, the time frame is, if you can go back, time frame is third business day. 11 days till the election is the next business day. So that's something for the election officials to understand. Next. This talks about advanced voting. It's immediately the fourth Monday prior to the election for 17 days. This time there's a holiday, so it'll actually be starting on Tuesday. And there we go. Next. This talks about the reporting requirements for the board that'll be on the website. Updated at 10 a.m. every morning. Next. So if you're 75 years older and you request assistance or require assistance at the poll, you can ask to be brought to the front of the line to be the next available voter. If you don't ask, we aren't allowed to come and ask you, are you 75? Do you need assistance? If you need assistance, you have to tell us. You have to be over 75. All right? Or if you're disabled, 75 or disabled. Okay, this just talks about the processing, early processing. Talks about how we can open the outer envelopes and retrieve the ballots and process them, but we cannot tabulate. Just going through the process. And then 7 days prior to the beginning of absentee ballot processing and scanning, we have to notify the public. And the superintendent shall ensure that all ballots shall be scanned and securely stored on the same day in which the outer envelope was opened. Okay, can't leave the ballots out. And it has to be done by at least 3 people. So Shannon and I were talking about this today with what's going on with, some of the stuff that's been in the mail. We probably will not have 3 board members doing the early processing. It'll probably be 1 board member and either a poll worker or one of the staff helping out. The problem is if we have three board members in there and we run into an incident, we could be down 3 board members and we cannot certify an election with just 2 board members.
What are you talking, I mean, what incidents are you talking about for the
If there's
public?
if we're opening up an absentee ballot and there's a substance in there that could, fentanyl, ricin, anthrax, anything that could be in an absentee ballot that could render us incapable of doing our jobs.
That's an interesting thought.
Okay.
Okay? So it won't be, so if you think it's 3 board members all the time, that's not gonna happen anymore. It's gonna be 1 or 2 board members at the most.
So do you
So that we
want to
can
just
have-
keep one board member in the area, the enclosed area? Because anybody in that area would be affected, right?
Correct.
So you only really have one board member
Yes.
in,
So, but
yeah.
But we also cannot make it so the public can't come and watch. They have to observe. So there's probably going to be some plexiglass and some other things, some other precautions we're going to. I just wanted to put it on everybody's mind that we're thinking about this. Oh, did I go out too far? I'm sorry. Okay. We're just thinking about
No,
this and we just
think
want to
it's-
make sure that we're
yeah.
coming up with plans
Absolutely.
so that we can do this safely, but still be within the confines of the
Yeah.
law.
Good thought.
Okay?
Good thought.
All right.
We don't want it, but good thought.
You don't want my thoughts?
No,
Thanks.
no, 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 no.
We don't want to have any incidents.
No, we don't want to have an
I think
incident.
that was really,
Right.
really
Forward.
good.
Forward thinking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, next. And this talks about tabulating early. If you want to do it early, we have to notify the public 7 days, which we are going to, because the rule now is we have to let the Secretary of State know how many absentee ballots we had by 8 PM on election night. And the only way to do that is start tabulating early and get the results out. Okay. And this talks about once we start early tabulating, everyone will be sequestered. And no phones, no nothing, no talking to the press, no leaving the area. Okay, next. And this talks about more of the cancellation of absentee ballots, and this is really more for the electors to know that they can cancel their absentee ballot, and that there's a process to do that. And it really depends on if they've received their absentee ballot already and they bring it to the polls. If they haven't received their absentee ballot, how that works. So we're really not going to go through all of this, but I just want to put it out so on the web, people will see this and they'll understand if they want to cancel their ballots, how to do that, their mail-in absentee ballot. So we just go on through. Next. Next. All right, any questions for me?
No.
All right, so any cancellation questions I may have, ask you, just, they're null and void, I won't ask you them today, because we didn't go over it. All right, so. Guess I'll start from the beginning. All right, bring up the questions for me, please. All right. True or false, an absentee application, ballot application can only be approved if the voter provides a reason. Is that true or false? That is false. When is the earliest and latest a person may apply for a mailed-in absentee ballot for an election or runoff?
Not earlier than 78 days and less than 11 days,
Okay, how about for runoff?
as soon as possible.
There you go. At what age may an elector request a mail-in absentee ballot for an entire election cycle?
65.
65. Yes. I forgot the UOCAVA. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. True or false, an application for a mail-in absentee ballot is required for each PPP primary election and runoffs unless the elector meets the age and/or disability requirement or is UOCAVA.
True.
True.
That is true. For a runoff, when must mail-in absentee ballots be mailed?
As soon as possible.
As soon as possible. When may an elector confined to a hospital apply for a mail-in absentee ballot? The day that they're in the hospital and 10 preceding days, 10 days prior to. When must all non-Uacava mail-in absentee ballots be received by election superintendent? On election day at 7 PM, no later than.
Non, yeah.
Yep. Next. When must the public be notified of advanced voting dates, times, and locations? How many days?
14 days?
How much?
14 days?
14 days, yep. At what age does an elector have the right to request to move to the front of the line to vote?
75.
75. When shall the election superintendent be authorized to open the outer envelope of absentee ballots that have been verified and accepted?
7 days? 7 days prior?
7 days?
No?
No.
Okay.
Let's go back. Everybody got their training? Get your training. Here I am looking up myself. Because I want to get it verbatim.
Shannon, you know the answer. Help us out. I'd like to phone a friend, please.
Phone a friend. I'd like to get my code book out. I can probably find it.
Thank you.
I can,
Thank you, Ms. Harden. Shannon?
all right. Beginning at 8 a.m. on the third Monday prior to the day of the primary, the superintendent shall be authorized to open the outer envelope. Okay? It's in writing. Go ahead.
The same is true for the general. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but our dates are already set to begin that Thursday,
Yes.
okay? To early process, so we can open them as soon as that Thursday, just because that's what we've noticed already.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. The election superintendent shall ensure that the ballots shall be scanned, reconciled, and securely stored on the blank in which the outer envelopes are opened.
Same day.
Same day. All right, when is the election superintendent allowed to begin tabulating?
7 a.m. on election.
7 a.m. on election day. Okay?
I'm sorry, we can't hear you.
It,
That's only if you've notified
Yes,
in advance that you're going to
yes,
start that early and you sequester the tablet.
correct.
Thank
So
you.
it's, you have to notify a week in advance, and once that's done, if we come in at 7 a.m. and we're going to start opening up ballots, you'll be sequestered until 7 p.m. that night.
but the way that we have our notice already posted is for 5 PM on Tuesday afternoon.
Right.
Because we have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Monday, that we'll be opening any ballots, absentee ballots that have come in. We feel that's enough time, and that 5 o'clock is sufficient.
Yep. All right, I think that concludes the training. All right. That wasn't too painful, I hope.
No?
Okay. All right, important upcoming dates, logic accuracy testing has already started, 9 a.m. Uacava Day is Saturday, September 21st.
23rd.
That's when all Uacavas have to be,
23rd,
23rd.
right?
Saturday, September 21st.
It's the 21st, but some of those books didn't get changed, but it's the
yeah.
21st.
Okay.
Thank you.
Monday.
It's always on a Saturday. They do
I mean,
Uacavas on Saturdays.
yeah.
All right, display sample ballots for November general election is Monday, September 23rd, which we've already got them out. The first day to mail an absentee ballot is October 7th, so be looking in your mailbox for those if you've asked for an absentee ballot. Last day to register to vote for the November election is also Monday, October 7th. Deadline to submit poll watcher designation letters is Saturday, October 12th. That's for advance voting. Columbus Day is Monday, October 14th. All offices will be closed. Advance voting is Tuesday, October 15th through Friday, November 1st, and we have flyers in the back on the advance voting days. Our next board meeting will be Wednesday, October 16th at 4 PM. And I want to try and get the schedule for 2025 out. And I would like to go back to Thursdays if we can, if that works for everybody. And the only,
Was you the one that wanted the Wednesday?
yeah.
Yeah, I did.
And the reason I say that is Katie's available on Thursdays the lady that does our minutes.
Oh,
She's available on Thursdays. So it just makes it easier for
so we're
her.
doing Thursday at 4 then?
Thursday at 4 is what I'm thinking. We'll propose a schedule and then we'll vote on it
Okay.
in the October.
That gives you time to.
I don't want to put a whole lot on the schedule as far as election stuff for October because I know we're going to be doing advanced voting, so it's going to be more centered around the affairs of the Board of Election Registration. Mandatory Saturday voting is October 19th and the 26th, and Sunday voting is October 20th at 1 to 5 at the Annex. And the general election, of course, is November 5th. All polls will be open 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Any additional public comments? Please state your name and address, and we're limiting public comments to 5 minutes. 5. Well, I didn't say you had to take the whole 5.
I will not.
Chair? You want a chair, Janet?
I love you too, Barbara Hug. I'm Janet Bradford, 145 Christina Lane, Kingsland, Georgia. One update to the election supervisor's report. The NAACP had voter registration locations at both Coastal Pines and the College of Coastal Georgia.
Okay.
So the 24 that were registered were from the two. Dr. Beckman and Nelson Cummings and I were at CCGA.
We just want to say thank you for the
Thank you.
NAACP.
It was our
for
pleasure. They
registered
were
voters.
very gracious. So I just have one question. What is the procedure for handling an absentee ballot that is received on election day that has to be rejected because, for whatever reasons, you would reject an absentee ballot? I didn't hear that.
Okay, so I can answer that. So the ballot gets rejected, the voter is notified. They have until Friday at 5 PM
Okay.
to cure it, basically.
To cure it, okay.
Kind of like a provisional.
Thank you very much.
I'm proud of you.
Anyone else?
Kelvin Blue, 319 Briarwood Circle, Kingsland. So, on the topic, and maybe I missed it, of reasonable inquiry, have we discussed this already? All right. So, my question is, for the board, what would constitute a reasonable inquiry conversation to uphold the certification of the election?
So I'll answer you right now. As it stands right now, we're not allowed to not certify the election. The code is very clear. The SEB has been very clear by 5 PM on the Monday or the Tuesday, depending on the holiday. We will certify the election. Now, if there's irregularities after that, those will be provided to the Secretary of State's office and the SEB, and then they will take it from there. But we will not hold up certification unless we are told to by a court. If a court comes down and says you will hold up certification, that would be the only reason I could think that we would ever hold up a certification. Okay? Anyone else? Oh, yes.
Dennis Irvin, 1275 3R Fish Camp Road, White Oak, Georgia. I apologize for my tardiness today. As I'm sure was mentioned in the meeting, LNA began today. Started at 9 o'clock, and I ran all the way until 4:20 to get back here to y'all. And I thought that the board was owed an update from the technician completing LNA. I have successfully completed all advance voting ballots on the BMDs. So those have all been completed as of today. I will proceed with scanning those ballots and inserting their results for those into the EMS tomorrow. So hopefully all of advance voting's equipment will be prepared and ready by end of business tomorrow, at which point I'll start with the election day equipment. So I'll open it up to if y'all had any questions about it.
Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you.
Great job.
So no issues, no,
No issues whatsoever.
excellent, excellent.
Well, thank y'all.
So actually, I do have a question. So on election night, some of us may be at the polls helping out. Is there anything that we can provide to the poll workers that will assist you in your job?
Anything that could be provided to them.
As in, hey, you need to wrap that up better, or you need to put it in here, this cord needs to go in this area, not just thrown in here?
Oh, so you mean during setup or during breakdown?
Breakdown.
Yeah.
Breakdown.
I'm going to cover the best practices and how I would like to see the BMDs and all of that returned to me in training. If you catch something, if you're there and you're helping them break down and you say, hey, Dennis wanted the ATI controller in the plastic sleeve and they're putting it like on top of the BMD or something, you can, call that out. But, I assume a lot of y'all will be at training. So if you catch what I say at training and you can spot something that maybe a poll worker might be doing just a little bit wrong, if you want to step in and say, hey, and I'll be saying the same thing to the poll worker. Say if you catch one of your fellow poll workers maybe putting something back wrong, if you can if you can correct them on that, because it's all about, if I can get it back the way that I send it out, it'll make this process of logic and accuracy testing go a whole lot faster.
Agree. Agree. All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, okay. Mary Beckman, I live in District 3, Ms. Stofflet's district. And first of all, I wanted to welcome Ms. Fortier to this. And I'm hoping that you can give the board wisdom and so on. And in that context, I want to just correct a misstatement that Chair Rapp made. I'm sure it was not intentional. It was actually the county attorney and not the district attorney. Yeah.
Yes, the county attorney. Thank you. Any other public comments? If there are no objections, this meeting will now adjourn. Since there are no objections, this meeting is adjourned.